Hey guys, what's going on? Steven back again, and I'm back with another video from the Template Institute. A little different this time. This video is for you Warhammer fantasy fans out there, and of course the video is about the Empire of Man. Let's take a look. Alright, here we go. The Empire of Man.
The old world is filled with species both ancient and new. From the elves that came to rule in Ulthuan in times now forgotten, to the dwarves and halflings who have long populated the high mountains and rolling valleys, to the lizardmen whose civilizations in the deep jungles of Lustria predate all. Together with ogres, trolls, beastmen, and all the other foul creatures twisted into existence by warpstone during the Great Catastrophe, and the greenskins, whose origins are beyond anyone's knowledge, the world has known life in a multitude of forms. Against such fantastically ancient or brutally cunning rivals, it is a wonder that the comparably mundane human race has not long since been ground into dust. And yet, in its ingenuity, adaptiveness, and indomitable spirit, mankind has not only survived, but now flourished across every face of the world. Their cities now rise over the ruins of their elven or dwarven predecessors. Their explorers delve deep into the once impenetrable jungles of Lustria, and even the mightiest warbands of Chaos Spawn or Greenskins are held at bay by their indomitable fortresses of industry, trade, and power. They can be found at the highest peaks and in the deepest mines, from the distant shores of forgotten lands to the centers of the greatest continents.
I'm good.
From desert to tundra
and
every environment in between, humanity has tamed the world like few other races before it. Their civilizations are as numerous as their lands, and with each new territory settled, a new identity is shaped, cultures develop, and nations spring forth. From the rival city-states of Tilia come the great merchant princes. From the deserts of Araby arise the wealthy caliphates. Legendary duelists and explorers dominate Estalia, while the sweeping countryside of Bretonnia has brought forth a kingdom steeped in customs and tradition. The nations of humanity come in every conceivable form and under all manner of creeds. But in all the known world, only one civilization has ever possessed the immense potential, lauded history, and indomitable will to declare itself nothing less than the Empire of Man. It spans the heart of the old world, between the great mountains that divide the southern realms, and frozen chaos wastes that lay to the north.
This is making me want to play Total War.
All the world, and there are few decisions of state, economic, or military that do not take into account this juggernaut of human power. It is a nation of growth, pushing the boundaries of technology and human understanding, a place of immense cities and townships dotting wide landscapes of hill, moor, and forest. It has stood for centuries, since the wild years of humanity's fractured tribal existence, and by the grace of its god king Sigmar and the strength of its armies, it will stand for centuries more. The Empire was founded in the closing years of what men call the Classical Age, roughly 2,500 years in the distant past. Its founder, the legendary Sigmar Heldenhammer, was the son of a tribal king born under a twin-tailed comet, a birth noted as auspicious and filled with the promise of greatness. Through many years of war and diplomacy, he united the disparate human tribes of his region, reforming their settlements and lands into the cities and provinces that today dot the modern empire. In his early years, the young Sigmar forged a strong union with the dwarves' underking, Ironbeard. Both Sigmar and Ironbeard had worked to rid their lands of the Greenskins, and found in each other a powerful ally. Sigmar would forever cement their bond when he saved the dwarven regent from an orc war party, and rescued the dwarves' besieged lands from an invasion of Greenskins. In victory, eternal friendship was sworn between men and dwarves, and the deed marked with the gifting of 12 magic swords and the iconic Warhammer Gal Maraz to Sigmar himself.
That is badass.
Awed by Sigmar's feats across the continent, the petty kingdoms of man flocked to his banner. A crown was placed atop his head by the high priest of the cult of Ulrich, proclaiming him emperor of all the tribes of man. Sigmar saw his new empire through many years of struggle and invasion, but never lost sight of his dream of uniting man. Much of these early days was spent settling disputes between former tribes that had refused to consolidate their old rivalries, and reaffirming the sword oaths the former kings had taken to serve him. In the 9th year of his rule, the petty banditry of local warlords and ever-present Norscan raids escalated into a full invasion headed by terrible champions of the Chaos gods Slanesh and Khorne.
Ooh.
The frenzied invaders defeated Sigmar's armies in the field, pushing them all the way back to the fledgling city of Middenheim. With the arrival of their dwarven allies, the siege was eventually broken. The immense bloodthirster that
Dwarf
headed
to
the
the
assault
rescue.
was slain, and the raiders
stunties
forced
have
back
arrived.
into their frozen northern lands. With the threat of chaos thwarted, the greatest danger to the early empire came in its 15th year of existence from the great
Nagash.
necromancer, Nagash. His undead armies swept unchecked across the southern provinces
He should be in
search
Total
of the
War
Dark
Warhammer.
Sorcerer's crown of power, and the
Maybe in the
empire
third
was
game.
left as the last nation with the will and
We'll have to wait
means
and
to
see.
resist. After fighting retreats and narrow escapes across the countryside, a final confrontation was fought outside the gates of Reichdorf, the imperial capital and Sigmar's ancestral home. Donning the necromancer's own crown to protect himself from dark sorceries, Sigmar pushed into the center of the undead army and
Damn,
faced
that looks
Nagash in
badass.
single combat.
That looks
Although
cool.
outclassed, Sigmar was able to distract the necromancer by moving to destroy his crown, letting him land a mortal blow with Galmaraz. With
That
Nagash's
is one
spirit
cool
banished,
picture.
his undead army fell apart. Such heroic deeds marked the 50-year rule of Sigmar, which ended when the first Emperor of Man set off to the east for an unknown purpose and to an unknown fate. With his passing, the system of Elector Counts was established, turning former tribal kings into the 12 Elector Counts and enabling these provincial leaders to elect a new emperor from their own ranks. For centuries and millennia, the power of the empire has remained spiritually in the hands of the emperor, but in reality comes from the Elector Counts. Though the emperor raises and leads armies, can summon the Elector Counts to court, and holds nominal reign over the empire, each province operates with a level of relative autonomy. Likewise, wealth is taxed in the emperor's name, but concentrated in the hands of the most powerful families and largest
Well, of course
cities.
it is.
Across the ages have come emperors that sought to rule purely through coercion, only to find their coffers empty and their armies in full rebellion. Periods of misrule such as these have led to a civil war that set the empire into ruin. Such wars have occurred often over the centuries,
wow.
usually followed by periods of rebuilding that leave provinces vulnerable to revolt and invasion. If the enthroned emperor is defeated in such a conflict, a new emperor will be selected from amongst those electors who find themselves on the winning side. The greatest of these civil wars, the Age of Three Emperors, saw the empire plunged into a centuries-long period of disunity and infighting.
Wow, for a
When
century.
the Elector Counts failed to nominate a successor to the assassinated Mandred Skavenslayer, several of them claimed the title of Emperor or Empress for themselves, breaking the
course.
bonds that held the disparate provinces in confederation. Such political damage was hard to repair, and the provinces existed in a state of mutual conflict for nearly 200 years. It was only with the outbreak of the Great War against Chaos that this division was brought to an end, with the crowning
Does this get
of the
censored? Because this
legendary
really didn't
reformer,
happen.
Magnus the Pious. The Empire constitutes all the
Oh, wait.
lands
Oh, did
from
they
the
just
world's
use the
edge
picture?
mountains in the east,
The
to
Storm of
Kislev
Chaos, that
in the north,
didn't really happen,
to the
did
Black
it?
Mountains in the south, and the Grey Mountains in the west. These lands are divided into 11 provinces, each one a small state bound into the confederacy of the Empire. The provinces themselves are a patchwork of duchies, counties, grand duchies, baronies, leagues, and princedoms, with a further series of burghs and city-states existing outside the provincial system.
Damn.
The provinces of the Empire are as varied as their peoples, from the great forests and tundra of Kislev to the sleepy hills of Mootland, to the oft-besieged Ostermark and the haunted, shadowed lands of Sylvania, a once grand province now left to rot and ruin.
And run by the vampires.
Many of the Empire's city-states exist beyond the direct control of the nobility, instead being ruled by an elected burgomeister or council of officials. Here is where the emerging wealth classes of tradesmen, bankers, and innovators hold greatest sway, and where the most cutting-edge developments in technology and alchemy occur. First among these is the one-time imperial capital of Nuln, a center for religious pilgrimage and technological development that plays host to the famed Imperial Gunnery School. In comparison to the rigid feudal system that rules Bretonnia, the Empire's many guilds and schools provide a wide range of opportunity to a fledgling innovator. Yet while the occasional development has come from humble beginnings, the prohibitive cost of entry for these institutions keeps the greatest opportunities firmly in the hands of the wealthy and noble elite. Still, it cannot be denied that some of the most groundbreaking innovations
of
in
course,
the
the
old
wealth always
world
stays with the
have
elite.
come from the alumni of the Empire's prodigious centers of learning. The Imperial Gunnery School has consistently produced some of the finest marksmen seen on the battlefield. Its students are drawn from the sons of wealthy families who display an aptitude for mathematics, an affinity for explosives, and, most importantly, are not directly in their family's line of succession. The quality of its teaching is upheld by its extremely selective core of graduates, who go on to form the Empire's prized handgunner regiments. Likewise, the College of Engineers continue to revolutionize the nature of war and industry, with their greatest creations rivaling even the marvels of their dwarven counterparts.
That's pretty interesting.
But it is the 8 Imperial Colleges of Magic that remain the foundation for human understanding of the arcane, training some of the finest wizards and alchemists in the old world. Under its current Supreme Patriarch, Balthazar Gelt, the institution as a whole has entered an unprecedented era of wealth and battle triumphs, whilst Gelt's own College of Gold has enjoyed an unrivaled position of dominance above the other 7. The rivalry between the colleges is both a historic strength and weakness of the institution. Though such division has undoubtedly driven innovation in harnessing the winds of magic, it will easily turn into a refusal to cooperate and even open conflict at the slightest provocation.
So
The practice of magical dueling in the election of the Supreme Patriarch has seen the greatest of their number rise to a place of prominence, but has no doubt cost the colleges a great deal of their potential in the centuries since their founding. But while displays of magic have the potential to turn the tide of battle, the heart of the Empire is found in faith, steel, and gunpowder. No clearer is this statement seen than in the ranks of her imperial armies. Swordsmen, halberdiers, and spearmen are the three most numerous forms of professional soldiery, forming the heart of the Empire's infantry corps.
I don't know if that's still the Armory book cover.
They provide a block of fighting men capable of holding the line against all manner of horrors. These regulars are supplemented by the mercenaries and militias of the free companies, as well as the fanatical mobs of the flagellants.
Yep.
Ranks of outriders and pistoliers form the Empire's light cavalry divisions, often screening marching columns and providing vital reconnaissance duties. The range troops of the Empire are focused around the massed ranks of crossbowmen and archers, supplemented by the elite handgunners who are prized for their skill at felling heavily armored foes. The highly trained greatswords form the shock troops of Imperial armies, stout fighters bearing their immense and deadly blades. The famed knightly orders of the Empire provide contingents of mounted knights and the even rarer demigryph knights, each a devastating heavy cavalry force in its own right. Each knightly order has devoted itself to a particular god or aspect of war. Together, these specialists represent the primary offensive power that can sway the course of a battle. The College of Engineers supplies the Empire's most formidable engines of war, from the great cannons and mortars that devastate ranks of enemy soldiers and tear down fortress walls.
Okay, that's a cheese army. That's too many cannons and mortars.
Notoriously unpredictable Hellblaster volley cannons
Those
and
things are
Hellstorm
ridiculous.
rocket batteries. The War Wagon represents a more low-tech offensive transport and redeployment platform, whilst the ultimate symbol of the Empire's industrial mastery is found in the steam tank.
Steam tanks, yeah.
Thundering, smoke-belching monstrosities, these steam-powered machines
You know
are
how many
plated in
battles
a
I've
thick
won
armor that allows them to
only
tear
a
through
steam
foes
tank
like
left?
a battering ram,
Yeah.
all the while firing cannon shot into the scattered survivors.
I always try to
Only
take
12
one.
steam tanks were constructed before the secret to their design was lost, and to date, only 8 remain in active service.
Wow, really?
Although a rare sight, there are few things found in the
Only
old
8
world
of them
more
left?
inspiring to Imperial soldiers and more demoralizing to the foe.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yet, equal to the strength of its armies in defending the lands of the Empire is
So
the
those
faith
things must
of
only
its
come
peoples.
out in
Though almost
dire
every
need
god
then,
of
if
every
there's only
pantheon
8
in
of
the
them
old
left.
world has followers across the Empire's lands, the cult of Sigmar is the predominant faith of the nation. The worship of Sigmar Heldenhammer began shortly after his disappearance, the early church adopting the symbols of the dwarven hammer Gal Maraz and the twin-tailed comet of his birth as its spiritual iconography. In its 2,500 years, the Sigmarite faith has become deeply entrenched within the political and social existence of the Empire.
Okay, that's kind
Its
of cool
upper
and
clergy
creepy, having like the
maintained a strong
skulls and
presence
the
within the
hands and
imperial
bones.
court, as deeply involved in its schemes and politics as any noble. In particular, their rivalry with the cult of Ulrich, an ancient religion that Sigmar himself espoused, constitutes the basis for a long-standing tradition of mutual suspicion, hostility, and accusations of heresy. In its purest form, however, the cult of Sigmar upholds bravery, the protection of the weak, and the struggle against the ruinous powers above all. Its grand theogonist, Volkmar the Grim, is a celebrated warrior priest with a long record of meeting the forces of chaos in open battle, bringing the rage
He's
of
awesome in
Sigmar
Total
down
War.
onto the servants of evil. His most recent crusade against the undead armies of the vampiric von Carsteins is a righteous struggle that brings hope to those most vulnerable to the horrors of Sylvania. The warrior priests and flagellants of the cult can often be found in the farthest borderlands, policing the sinners of provincial villages to the chagrin of the local magistrates. However,
Well, I
when
mean,
the
it
band
makes
of
sense to
orcs,
use them,
beastmen,
you know, since
and
they're
Norska return to raid and pillage,
already
these
heretics
chanting
and
mobs are the first
immune
to
to
answer the
psychology
call
and
to
stuff like
arms,
that, so-
seeking to honor Sigmar's memory with blade and hammer. The Empire's history is shaped by war and struggle, one that has continued unrelentingly into the modern day. From the Great War against Chaos that nearly saw the end of allied domains of Kislev, to the Battle of Nuln, where hideous ratmen devastated a full half of the great city, to the costly invasion of Warg Azag that burned the inner provinces, the future of the Empire continues to be
Warg-Azag.
forged in blood. As he enters his 20th year of regency, Emperor Karl Franz is faced with a realm beset from within and without. The return of Manfred von Carstein to his ancestral seat of power in Sylvania threatens to inflict the horrors of the vampiric wars on the Empire once more. Invading bands of orcs and beastmen grow ever bolder, striking deeper into the heartland of the Empire and melting back into the forests before any army can intercept them. On the quietest nights, the rumbling of machinery deep under the earth betrays the presence of a great and terrible under-empire, even as
the
Imperial
Skaven.
officials refuse to even confirm the existence of these rumored rat-men.
Yep.
Above all, the long shadow of Archaon,
Here we
ever
go.
chosen of chaos,
Oh,
casts
yeah.
the mightiest realm of humanity into despair.
Yep.
In a sick parody of Sigmar's uniting of the human tribes 2,500 years before, Archaon has quested and fought to unite the disparate Chaos warbands and Norska clans to his rule.
Yes, he did.
Now they march south, shadowed by demons and burning as they go, aiming to cut the heart from the Empire and drive all the world to ruin. And yet, in the face of the greatest existential threat in its long history, tales of victory and heroism continue to inspire the beleaguered defenders of Sigmar's realm. The memory of the Throne of Chaos invasion is still fresh in the minds of many aspiring gunners, where the infernal
And I'm pretty
machines
sure
of the
that
Chaos
got
Dwarves were
retconned, right?
smashed apart at Nuln
That,
by the
that
heavy
whole
batteries of the
Archeon
College of
invasion
Engineers.
didn't really happen.
Such a glorious sight was only matched by the Battle of 100 Cannons, the greatest amassing of artillery the world had ever seen, and the college's
Wow.
proudest day.
100 cannons.
To the common peasants of Middenheim, the exploits of Elector Count Boris Todbringer against the
actually must have
beastman
been a real
warlord
sight to see.
Kazrak One-Eye bring hope that these deadly raiders are at last being dealt with. To the soldiers of Volkmar's crusade and aspirant wizards alike, the fantastical efforts of Balthazar Gelt against von Karstein's ranks of the undead are a beacon of light, daring them to dream that these nightmares will finally be banished back to Sylvania for good.
No, that won't happen.
At the heart of it all stands Karl Franz, the Emperor and heir of Sigmar, bringing the thunderous rage of the Empire down upon those who would defy it.
Here comes the steam
As a
tanks.
leader of armies, the Prince of Altdorf is proving to be unmatched, winning victories as formidable as the Siege of Bloodkeep
There he
against the
is.
vampiric Order of Blood Dragons, and the Battle of Norduin against the Men of Bretonnia.
The Emperor.
As a
Karl
statesman,
Franz.
his skill is unparalleled in the Old World. His alliance with the dwarves under High King Thorgrim Grudgebearer stands as strong as
Ugh.
it did in the days of Sigmar himself. A certainty that brings hope
that's
to those
badass
whose
and
homes
gross at the
lie
same
in the
time.
shadows of the Great Mountains. Together with all the nations of the world determined to keep the madness of the ruinous powers at bay, the Empire is prepared to fight this coming storm of chaos to the very end. Though the end times grow ever closer, the strength of humanity is unwavering. In the great battles to come, it will be both hammer
That was
and
actually a
anvil
really
against the tide
pretty
of horrors
cool
that descend
MMO.
from the lands of ruin.
It's a shame it
As
just
long as
didn't
the
last.
name of Sigmar Heldenhammer is upon the lips of the faithful, as long as the twin-tailed comet blazes across the sky, any who question the strength of humanity will find an answer in the Empire of Man.
Oh, that's it?
The Templin Institute investigates the nation.
Damn, that's it. Damn, wow, that was pretty cool. You know, so much stuff I didn't even really know. I kind of thought they would have gone in maybe a little bit more into, what was it? What did they change it to? Like Age of Sigmar or something like that? How it kind of got into that, because they were kind of leaving off with like the Storm of Chaos, which kind of really didn't happen, or so I've been told. You know, people said that Storm of Chaos really got retconned, and yeah, that was just kind of like a complete flop, and there was like another Chaos invasion that went the way it was actually supposed to go, because I remember the Storm of Chaos, which was pretty fun. We had all sorts of like different battles and stuff like that, and then we had to go on to this certain Games Workshop site, and we would input all of our battles and stuff like that. Like if I had a 3,000 point Chaos army and I fought against a 3,000 point High Elf army, and if I won that battle, I would have to input that onto the website. You know, I won with Chaos and I had roughly 1,000 points left over, and that's kind of how the story went. And I guess it didn't go the way Games Workshop wanted it to go. I guess they wanted it to, you know, Chaos to take over, but it kind of didn't really happen, and the ending was like so wanky and dumb. What was it? Archeon. I don't remember how it ended. Archeon was fighting Sigmar. I think it was Sigmar. I think Sigmar actually came back, if I remember correctly. He was fighting Sigmar. There was some really powerful hits and stuff like that. Sigmar ended up winning. Archeon was like falling back, and like Grimgor headbutted him and knocked out Archeon. And then they just threw Archeon in like a prison. So it was kind of like, what? So stupid. Yeah. So that was like really. I can see why they retconned that. That was pretty horrible. You know, you having this awesome battle, Archeon. You know, fighting Sigmar and stuff like that. Huge battle, and all of a sudden, Archeon gets headbutted by Grimgor. Like, really? You know, I don't know, it's pretty dumb. But, yeah, it would have been cool, because I'm kind of curious to see because I don't know how it changed from what it was to what it is now with Age of Sigmar. So I don't know, like, I don't know, I'm kind of hoping they do a, if there is some sort of video that talks about how it went from what it was to how it is now with Age of Sigmar and stuff like that. Like, how did it become, what was it, Grand Alliance Order, Grand Alliance Chaos, Grand Alliance Death, Grand Alliance Destruction? How did all that stuff just kind of like come about, you know? Like, all right, I'm looking at the website right now, Games Workshop and stuff like that. Yeah, all armies of chaos, beasts of chaos, blades of corn, disciples of Tzeentch, Skaven. Really, Skaven's under chaos? Yeah, I guess so. So, what is it, like chaos and Skaven like on a side, and then you got all armies of death, Flesh Eater Courts, Legions of Nagash, Night Haunt. What the hell's Night Haunt? Night Haunt. So they're like ethereals? I mean, they do look actually pretty badass looking. Dreadblade Harrows. Okay, those things actually look pretty cool. Lady Onlander? Motarch of Grief? Yeah, like, I wish there was a video that would like explain like what happened, how all this completely changed, and like where did all these other armies came in. Like, this doesn't look like an army. How do you, I don't get how you use this stuff. Let me see, so that way you guys know what I'm looking at. Okay, here we go. Yeah, Osirich Bone Reapers. Like, how do you use? This isn't. No, that's not an army, because they don't have like troops. Unless these are the troops. I don't know. Got a catapult. And these must be like all the lords and heroes and stuff. But I don't. Like, see, I don't know how you. I don't know how you would play this stuff. Like, alright, Legions of Nagash. Okay, so you got Nagash, which actually looks like a really badass model. About $121. That does look really badass. That looks awesome. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, Grave Guards. So, okay, we got troops and stuff like that. Let's view all. Wow, they demoted him to Necromancer. That was, oh, what was his name? Heinrich Kemmler? Yeah, that was like Heinrich Kemmler model. And now he's just Necromancer. Damn, he got a demotion. Skeleton Warriors, Dreadwalker Zombies. I don't know what those things are, but those things are pretty cool. Ark in the Black? Whoa. Vampire Lord, okay. Wow, he got demoted too? Wow, that sucks. That was, I have that model. What was his name? Conrad von Karstein. Wow. Damn, he got a demotion. He got demoted to Vampire Lord. Vampire Lord on Nightmare Steed? That was Manfred. That was Manfred. Well, I guess this is the new Manfred now. That is actually really cool. I don't know what kind of mount that is, but that's pretty badass. Wow. Let's see what else we got. Where was I? Alright, so we got Death. Let's look at Grand Alliance Destruction. These must be orcs, I'm guessing. Yep. Oh wow, I'm actually digging the giants. That was like the only giant model. This one right here. No other variations, nothing. It was just a big, goofy looking... Yep. Yep, we didn't even have this one. We had this guy. That was it. Just a bone club and everything. That was it. But now there's all sorts of new ones. That looks pretty cool. That one looks pretty badass as well. Mega Boss. Wow. Ogres? Wait, Slaughtermaster. So that's not Scrag the Slaughterer anymore? Jesus, what happened to like all these named characters? They're just like gone. Okay, so Ogre Kingdoms are with orcs now? Iron Guts, yeah. Butcherer. I remember when these models came out, everybody was doing all sorts of crazy conversions and stuff like that. I bought a Butcherer and I ended up using the little meat cleaver here. Not meat cleaver, the, I don't know, whatever you want to call this, meat tenderizer. And I would take some of the gravel and some of the grass and stuff like that, and I would drop like a little bit of red paint or red ink into it and mix it all up, maybe a little bit of glue as well, to kind of thicken it up, and then I paint it right on this here so it kind of looked like guts. But yeah, all the different yeah, there's the meat cleaver, meat tenderizer, fire belly. That's new. Okay, so what? Orcs can take ogres now? Gorgers. Okay, those things were pretty brutal. Man-eater, man-eater, man-eater. Greasus Goldtooth isn't around either? Iron Blaster, that's pretty cool. Or did I skip them? Yetis, okay. Huh. No Greasus Goldtooth? So I guess he's dead? Yeah, unless he's somewhere else. I don't know, but see, it would have been cool to to see or at least hear how all this stuff came about. How did like everything change? Where did all these armies kind of like form and stuff like that? Like, how can you take like all these things in like your armies? Like, can I take Skaven in like a Chaos army, or how's that work? Because they're under, what is it, Grand Alliance of Chaos, so can I just like take anything now? Skaven, Corn. Yeah. Master Molder, Plague Priest. Exalted Hero of Chaos. Yeah, that was Crom the Conqueror. Skaven Deathmaster, that was Deathmaster Snitch. That was Queek Headtaker. Oh my god, all these models bringing back memories, and now they're just like nothing now. Just like, yeah, random hero 1, random hero 2. It's like, But that was this character here. He was so powerful. Okay, that's pretty dope. Skull Grinder. That's pretty cool. Gores. Okay, so can I take Beastmen? I don't know how any of this stuff works. Can I just like mix and match my own army? Skull Taker. That's pretty cool. I do like the new Chaos Spawns. Those things actually look pretty cool. Oh, Warblock Giselles. Chaos Warriors, yeah. Storm Vermin. Skull Reapers. Interesting. Hell Pit Abomination. Wow, only $60 for that. Yeah, that was a Shaggoth. Huh. Chaos Knights. I had a huge amount of them. I think I had a good block of like 20 of them. It was extremely expensive. But boy, did they hit like a truck. I mean, I kept them together. Especially if I made them chosen. 1 block of 20 chosen Chaos Knights. Boom. Slam into anything. Charge bonus. Depending on what, if they were corn, they got the extra attacks and stuff like that. The charge bonus attack, the horse attacks. That was a lot of attacks. And even if I didn't kill them, even if they were held in combat with like another strong unit or something like that, nobody was going anywhere. That unit was not going anywhere until the combat was finally over. But yeah, like against an army of like Ironbreakers, not an army, but a unit of Ironbreakers, because Ironbreakers were ridiculously strong. They had like a 3-up save. Yeah, I had a block of 30 of those. Yeah. And I ran them as 1. Maybe not the best thing, but they could hold their own. That 30 unit, 30 unit could definitely hold their own against whatever you threw at it. They just stand there and be like shouting their dwarven little sayings and everything like that. Give me a box or something like that. Don't mess up my beard. And they'll just stay there and stay in combat. Vermin Lords. Why so many? Warpseer, Corruptor, Deceiver, Warbringer, Vermin King. Why are there so many of them now? Or actually, I should say that why are there so many? There wasn't even one. It was just rumors of the Vermin Lord, and that was it. Oh, Scarbrand. Great Unclean One. Rattling Guns, yeah. Warp Fire Throwers, Wolf Rick, okay. Yeah, that... I can't remember if that was Wolfric or not. Valkia the Bloody. Oh, that one looks awesome. I have heard the stories and stuff about Valkia, and that is actually pretty badass. If I was to ever play again, I definitely want Valkia leading my army. War Queen. Interesting. Plague Sensor Bearers. Yep. Decay, Blue Scribes, Juggernaut, Chaos Sorcerer on Manticore. Soul Grinder. That seems a little... I don't know, just kind of doesn't really fit in like the fantasy universe. That is what is that? It's in 40k. It's the same thing in 40k. I can't remember what it's called, but I mean, I don't know, it just kind of doesn't seem like it fits. They just like, yeah, here, hold this sword to make it look, see, it's got like a regular sword, it's fantasy. It just kind of seems like it doesn't fit. I mean, yeah, the monsters and stuff like that. Yeah, I can see that. But this giant mechanical looking spider, you know, it just kind of seems a little off. But yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'd love to learn how everything changed from what it was into all of this now. Like, you know, what happened? How did the armies change? Can I take units from anything? Like, can I have like Chaos Lord and take some Gores and Ungors and some Chaos Warriors and some clan rats and stuff like that? Or how does it work? You know, I don't know. I kind of wish that video did go a little bit more into it. But yeah, if there is a video that talks about how things went from what it was to what it is now, I'd like to hear it, because I am curious to see what happened. And I did hear there's no more Tomb Kings. I guess Tomb Kings didn't make it. I actually don't even see Bretonnians. Or did I even look at the Grand Order of Alliance? Order. Chaos. No. Order. Here we go. Okay, so what? Wood Elves? Empire? Dwarves? Huh? Marathi? Wait, what? Marathi is under Alliance? How the... What? How... Lizardmen? Okay, I mean, I can kinda... Okay, I can see the Empire, the Dwarves, maybe the Lizardmen teaming up. But like Marathi? Hag Queen? Dark Elves? What? I mean, what elves were kind of always like, leave us alone. But like, Sorceress on Black Dragon? So, did Dark Elves like flip and they're like, hey, we're good? Or I don't know. Lizardmen, dwarves. I will say a lot of these models do look badass, though. Black Ark Corsairs? See, like, how the hell did Dark Elves fall under, what is it, Grand Order of Alliance or something like that? Like, how the hell did that happen? Yeah, what am I under? Grand Order, Grand Alliance Order. So how the hell Dark Elves under Order? Oh. I don't know. But anyways, I don't want to ramble on too long. But yeah, there we go. So that was pretty cool, learning all about the Empire of Man and stuff like that. So it was really cool learning about that. You know, like I said, do wish they kind of got into how things changed and stuff like that. But either way, it was still pretty cool. Reliving the Storm of Chaos once again, even though that doesn't really exist. But yeah, that was really cool. So anyways, let me know what you guys think, and if there is any videos, or if you guys know of any videos on how things changed, let me know, because I'd like to learn what the hell happened. You know, how the hell did Dark Elves join with the Empire? You know, let me know. But yeah, if you guys have any videos to that, let me know, because I'd like to learn more. But yeah, anyways, other than that, you know, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. That'd be awesome. Remember, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description box below. And of course, other than that, stick around. They still have quite a few other Warhammer Fantasy videos that I still plan on getting to. Because, you know, I am a fan of both Warhammer Fantasy and 40k, so why not watch both? So anyways, other than that, just stick around. More videos are on the way, and I'll see you guys next time.